Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great, and welcome to this new video right here on Bitcoin, and therefore also your market update this morning. We're going to do a full update. I have to say, getting into this video, that I am slightly more bearish on Bitcoin and the markets. I'll tell you why, but as most of you know, I've been bullish on Bitcoin for basically the entire month of September up until now. I wouldn't say that I'm bearish, but I'm neutral at this point of time, right? But the price action we've seen over the course of the past week, in combination with some fundamental pressures, make me bearish, or at least make me neutral, right? So a little bit more, and I've also closed off some positions. I'm still net long in terms of my positions, but still, I think it's good to be a little bit cautious here, right? Because I mean, if we take a look at the price action we've seen so far, it's not looking great, right? So obviously, yesterday we tried to break out, right? So yesterday, the price of Bitcoin auctioned above 113.4. That was the main level that I always had in mind. You know, if we're able to reclaim that and hold it, that's great. And then we can rally into the 90-day rolling VWAP. And then from there, we can see again, right? And that was very much the main level I was aiming for, to see a reaction. And then based on that reaction, we could either see a further recovery or a continued dump in the price. And you can see that the price of Bitcoin, like we got into that first fair value gap, but we immediately rejected. There barely was any strength outside of 1 hour after the NYO. And we fell back into, after the Asian session, which has been very bearish this week, we fell back into the value area that we had formed the days before that. That's very bearish. And then outside of that, we actually pushed all the way through with relatively high volume, may I add, and we dropped down below the value area low of the price action the last couple of days, right? So that's a bearish breakdown. Now, I'm not completely certain. That's also why I'm neutral. I'm not completely certain we're going to push down lower, and that this is going to turn into a downtrend. But honestly, this is not price action of a strong asset, right? And then if we take a look at some other fundamentals around the markets, you can also see that the S&P 500 is pushing down lower. Ultimately, this is still bullish, but this has been bullish, as you can see, since the 5th of September going into the 23rd of September, right? So the S&P 500 being bullish doesn't always mean that Bitcoin is going to be bullish either. We also had quite a lot of selling pressure on Coinbase over the course of this evening. If you check out the Coinbase Bitcoin Premium, you can actually see that since yesterday, the image has greatly changed, right? We actually dipped into a Coinbase Bitcoin discount earlier this morning. And then we have something like the US government shutdown looming next week, Tuesday. And even though I don't think necessarily that's going to be very bearish, there have been times in the past where a government shutdown looming has caused some bearish pressure, at least of a couple of percentage points, going into the shutdown. Or going into the shutdown deadline date. And then we have some major news today with the GDP date and the jobless claims. And then tomorrow we have the PCE price index, aka risk, right? And that risk in combination with the weak price action we've seen so far is why I've turned neutral. Now, I do have to say, if we look at the 4-hour time frame, I think it's most likely we're going to remain relatively stable here for now. And then it will depend very much on the news, I think, whether we are going to push down lower than our main support level. Our main support level is actually right here between 111 and 110,000. I think for now it's most likely we will remain stable, right? So that's also why I told you I'm not bearish, I'm neutral. I just think the chance of getting a bullish breakout here and a move up, a pump, is quite low. And it's only possible if we get some very good news from the GDP data and from the PCE price index tomorrow. Otherwise, if that's very bad data, I think we could also push down to those lows we made right here at 108,000. So I'll keep you updated on that. Stability is what I think is most likely for now. GDP data and jobless claims, we want higher than expected jobless claims, and we want higher than expected GDP growth rate and the GDP price index for a bullish reaction in the markets, just as a small heads up here. But those are my thoughts. That's sort of thing you need to know for now. So thank you for watching. I'll keep you updated on all the news and the price action. But for now, have a great day. Take care and bye.